Well, hello there, SPAC friends and family. It's Tuesday, and it's shortly after 2 o'clock here on the West Coast, and it means it must be time for SPAC chat. I'm having a little bit of some internet wireless problems here, but I'm going to bring our host right on right now to introduce himself. And Calvin, of course, is our host for SPAC chat.
Hey there, Corey. You're coming in and out. I'll take it from here. I appreciate your efforts. Let's wait till that download finishes and then come back on, dear. Hey, folks, good afternoon. It's a bright Tuesday here in sunny California. We have the weirdest weather. It goes from hot to cold, but it's working, and it's a whole lot better not having to wear a hat everywhere we go. Today, we're going to be talking about senior portraits, and senior portraits takes up a variety of genres. You know, some people are boutique. They only need 1-2 sessions a day, a couple times a week, maybe. Others shoot 100 seniors, 200 seniors a day. And there's pluses and minuses on all sides of them. One of them certainly is the scalability of the process. You know, oftentimes in the boutique environment, everything is reliant on the individual as a photographer, capturing the images, et cetera, interacting and having a very personal, perhaps personal relationship with the client. Whereas those that are running the volume side of the business, where they might be running 20, 25, 50, 100 seniors on a day or at a time, they don't have the interactive time with the clients. Their potential for revenue is much greater, and the ability to engage other people as photographers is increased because it's not narrowed down to a very unique personal style. You can have a stylized system, but it's not reliant on the individual to produce images that are of good quality and that consumers want to buy. Today, we're going to be talking to a couple of people that have been in the business a very long time. I won't say very long because one of them they're a family tradition, and the other has been in quite a while too, and he's built this extraordinarily significant volume of business in a very short period of time. So as we get started, we're pulling in Ralph Romagera of Romagera Photography and Mike Norkin with Cherished Memories Photography. And we're going to be talking about, first segment is going to be about supplies and materials and things that are needed relative to garments, backgrounds or otherwise. And then we'll move into the type of equipment and the type of software that folks are using to capture, whether they be capturing directly into the system or if they're taking the images and then uploading it into a system. There's different solutions for each of these things that can come from a variety of our suppliers. So, Ralph, let's get started with you. And how are you, before we get started, how's the weather in Nolan?
Okay, well, let's start off with what you said. You went from hot to cold, hot to cold. We go from hot to wet, wet to hot, hot and wetter, and very humid. So, yes. So, many years ago, we decided as a family we were having problems with all of our schools at that time. The seniors would come in throughout the time of the year. And then, of course, yearbooks were looking for deadlines, and we were chasing out so many students to meet yearbook deadlines. So as a family, we came up with what we call Super Senior Week. And what we do, because it's hot and wet, wet and hot, and it's humid in between, we decided to do all of our senior portraits that for our schools during the summer in our studios, which for us, their yearbook sessions are cap and gown, tuxes, and drapes. So we're inside. It can be a little bit cooler. We can get some wonderful images, get that all done, meet the yearbook deadlines. So that's what we do there. So it's a lot of fun. Actually today, I'm glad I'm here, but behind that door, my crew is, we photographed about today because it was day 2, and we got training photographers, training our staff. We had about 15 to 20 senior sessions today.
So you're doing those senior sessions in school right now. When did school get out for you guys?
No, school's done. This is summertime.
So school is out. So you're taking the class of 26 senior portraits, and you're getting good responses at this early date. I'm going. Well,
they're gonna pick up. It's going to pick up. Like, this is week one, and we design week one to help train our staff, reformat our staff, all of our photographers and support staff, because we do bring in some seasonal people at this time of year. Actually, what we do is we employ to help move our seniors along, because we want that experience. And so we employ class of 26 seniors. And usually it's little ladies, because those are the ones that are really most interested in this position. And what they do is they'll go and have conversation with our seniors. They'll help get them prepared in their drapes or their tuxedos and their cap and gowns, and move them along. And it makes the senior client, very comfortable, because it's somebody their age. And then our photographers greet them, and we try to get that experience. And then that senior will bring them along to where they view their images. But we'll get to that a little bit later.
And are those seniors also acting as ambassadors at those schools? It doesn't matter if it's a contract school or not. There's contacts. And so you get them to do that.
Our senior ambassador program, we're very blessed. We call them our spokesmodels. We brought it back 2 years ago. One of my main photographers, she said, I really want to bring it back. I think it'll be very good for all the company and so on. And I said, yeah, let's do it. And so 2 years ago, we had 30 ambassadors.
Wow.
Last year, we were just barely under 80. This year, we're over 120 ambassadors.
And those with those ambassadors
in 3 years.
With those ambassadors, and I suppose they cycle out as they graduate. So you're actually growing a new volume every year, and it's still going up without retaining old volume. With those ambassadors, are you giving them any bonuses? What do they get as a benefit, other than? And you mentioned some of them are actually working. You're clearly not hiring 80 of them.
No, actually 120 now. We have about 15 that'll work for us through the summers, different shifts. We also, there are a few schools that are kind of far away from our main office. So we'll do a mini studio session at their locations that are further away, but try to give them that same experience. So yeah, what are their benefits? First of all, those are the ones that'll be on the walls, on our advertisements, our websites, which we're updating right now. We just had our big, and we call it our unveiling. It's when our ambassadors or spokesmodels get to see their image for the first time, the one that we picked out and helped design. We just unveiled that this Sunday. We had probably between 600 and 700 guests at a party at a sand volleyball place that we rented out, and it was great. It was really good for our social media as well.
Outstanding. So let's talk about scheduling processes, because we've talked about how we're getting volume through it this time of year, even keep it going, as well as build up the training protocols. How are you going about the scheduling? Are you scheduling everybody, sending them a preset appointment? Are they able to come in and are they able to go online and schedule their own appointment at any time? How are you facilitating that, and what tools are you using for that?
Okay, so we use Studio Cloud. That software we use for our portrait division, all of our senior portraits, families, children, and so on. Anything inside our four walls for the most part. What we'll do is we'll set up and send email. We'll load all of the seniors based on their schools. We'll load up all their emails. We'll send an email to the parents. But what we'll do is, depending on how large, how many seniors are per school, we will allocate during the summer X amount of days for that school. And so they can go online and pick and pay for their sitting. We do offer what we call a +1. So we have just a really simple background, white paper with a couple little props, because we know that there are some seniors that will never come back and do a full-blown session, casual session. So we're going to get them right then and there. So we call it a +1. It's worked out well. We see that our AOV has gotten a little bit higher because of it, and our participation rate because of it on the casual side. So we'll lay out our summer and say ABC school is going to be 5 days. XYZ school is going to be 4 days. So they have their predetermined days. But then we have in our summertime makeup days. So kind of throughout the summer, 3rd of July, towards the end of the summer, to accommodate the people who can't make their predetermined times. But all of this marketing stuff goes out to the class of 26, would have probably started, they would get that information started in mid to late March.
Wow.
Kind of like
Very good.
save the date, it's coming, be aware, it's coming. And then we'll send out another email saying, okay, today is the day you can book.
Outstanding. Hey, Mike, jump in here. What are you using for your scheduling?
So we use a program called Timely, and Timely is basically was designed for hair salons and people of that nature. And we signed on with them about 12, 13 years ago, and we've had the opportunity to kind of design and make the software do and become what it needed to be for us. And so we have 9 different studios, and each of the studios has anywhere from 2 to 4 shooting bays. So each one of those shooting bays is listed as an employee of our companies, which then schedules out either a 15-minute, a 30-minute, or an hour-long session. 100% of our sessions must be booked online. They must all be prepaid. We will not do any photography in our studios without someone paying for that up front. Because at the time that we started our business, we didn't require that. And then the no-show rates were 50%, and I was paying for people to sit there and do nothing. So now everyone must be prepaid, and they can call and cancel or make a change outside of 24 hours. Inside of 24 hours, our customer service team has the discretion to either waive the fee, refund it, or charge them again based on, the excuse that's given. If they're like, yeah, sorry, I just forgot. Well, that sucks, but you're going to have to pay another $30 for the session fee. If my kid got into a car accident or someone's really ill, you know what? We're not going to double down on you. We'll go ahead and move your appointment. We understand things happen. So at the end of the day, we've got the 9 studios. We've got about 44,000 seniors that need to come through. And we factored that we need to start. So Ralph has beat us to the punch, but we will be up and running in 10 days. And all of our schools are still in session. We don't have any of them that are out yet. They'll be out sometime next week. So we will start in 10 days. And then we will be booked 5 to 6 days a week in just about all of our studios all the way through the second week of January. So that is our deal. We will run 7 days a week once we get into September, but we don't need that until September. Then September, October, November, and December we will be completely booked. We'll probably be 4 to 6 weeks out booked minimum in all of our locations. So the goal is to try and incentivize and get them in the door. And we're not giving them anything for free. We're just telling them they get early access to things by coming in now. And then, we do the same thing as Ralph with the training, and we bring everyone in, and we're giving them that same option. But we're going on a normal day. Each studio is doing 50 to 75 kids a day time. So we're whatever that number is, 500 a day, 750 a day, depending on the day and the time of year is what we're running right now.
Okay. And then what do you do regarding both of you? Regarding students that don't necessarily want to purchase pictures, don't necessarily want to purchase pictures from you anyway, but need to be put into the yearbook. Do they allow anybody's picture to go in those yearbooks, or is it exclusive yours? And under that condition, do you provide a no charge session fee, one pose type thing for those students? What are you doing with those?
We have 3 different types of scenarios, and we ask our schools not to discuss free sessions until probably November time with anyone there. We fully understand that not every single person is going to want to buy pictures, and that's okay. The majority of them will come in and pay the session fee of $30, $40, or $75, even if they're not buying pictures, just to be included. All of our schools, just about all of our schools, actually include 2 pictures for the yearbook. And this is something that I think most photographers really should consider doing. because it really strengthens the reason why they need to come to us and get it done to begin with. So we're not just including a formal, we're including a formal and a casual, and that helps double down on those seniors. It helps give a valid reason for them to come in and take more than a single shot picture. And so our best sales, believe it or not, come from these lower end sessions. The higher averages, the faster turnaround, everything is coming from these sessions. While we have plenty of higher end experiences outdoors and in, I can take and make the same amount of money with a 20-minute session that I can with the hour, 2 hour, 3 hour session outdoors when you're working with averages. So for me, we concentrate on treating those two bottom end portions of our business even bigger and better to ensure that they're getting the best. I think we're seeing about a 65% participation rate in terms of purchasing, and the lowest end school this year for us in participation to just have pictures included was 87%. So we are at 87% and above, and our high school classes average 550 to 600, with a top end of 1,300 and a low end of about 110. So to give perspective of what we're working with.
Yeah, and I'm coming to you, Ralph. It's been very interesting. Over my years, I have said that I don't want to be the photographer for all of my clients. I want to create a program that is streamlined and simple enough that it can be replicated so that it can be scaled. And I think that that's one of the things that we have a lot of people coming into the business that would like to cater to a smaller segment, but have to recognize that you're finding the needle in the haystack for that great customer to come in when there's a whole lot of average customers that are more than happy to spend the money, and the amount of time you have to invest in those quote unquote average customers is far less than the premium customer. So it's just it's different philosophies of business that people have, but that's the reason that we don't do a boutique. It's volume work. Ralph, what are you doing relative to your scheduling?
Okay, so mostly during the summer, we're getting about an 85 to 90% rate of all my seniors to coming in and getting their stuff done. Again, I don't have the amount of numbers that Mike has. Most of my schools are parochial schools. The largest class that we have is about 225. The average high school that we service is about 120 in a senior class. But what we do is we'll do that cap and gown, tux and drape. I want to do it almost on a volume scale, but still have that experience, because we think that our average participation, our average AOV is a lot higher than the other local photographers, because we want to give them a great experience. We try to, and then from there, once we're photographing them, we're going right into a viewing session where the parents can pick out their yearbook. They can also place their order. So they're actually seeing everything laid out in front of them. None of our stuff goes, for the most part, none of this is going online to purchase. I do have a few schools, some very, very few schools that are, that those go online, but anything done, for the most part, we call it Super Senior Week. Those are done with a full viewing session. So it's about a 15, 20 minutes photo shoot, and then 15 to 30 minutes sales viewing consult right after, where parents are picking out, like, this image right up here, this layout, this handsome young man. That parent had a private session to get photographed, as well as his parents had a private session to pick out that particular print. It's my son. But those families are getting to see the images inside of those layouts, if they want a custom layout, or just a traditional 8x10 or a traditional wall portrait. Or we'll show them with canvas wraps and metals and paintings and so on. So it's a little bit different than it's kind of in between high volume and a boutique type session. That's where we feel that we do a very good job there.
What software are you using for demoing those different layouts and designs? That has to be
Sure. It's a great software. It's ProSelect. We've used it for many, many years. A friend of mine, Ron Nichols, he's always at different conventions, showcasing it. It's really designed for the portrait and not necessarily the volume, because they're not putting stuff online per se, but you could see the wall port. We have a projection room, so you can see a 30 by 40 what it looks like, and he'll actually, in the software, will show you what it looks like on your wall in your home. So it's kind of neat. It's a great, it's an experience that we offer for our families, our children, our seniors, that are done inside these four walls. And then after all of our senior portraits, the yearbook sessions are done. Then, because how it becomes a little cooler, not much, in September and October, November, we'll start gearing up for our casuals, our customized sessions, and then those will go out throughout the year with that team.
Well, you spoke about the families coming in for the session. Now, we work in urban areas. I think, Mike, you're covering urban as well as, but getting the family engaged and involved to come into the session would present a challenge. What is the number of parents that are actually coming with their students? And is it one parent or both parents? Ralph?
I'm sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought that was to Mike.
No, to you. You have
To
parents
me.
that come into your sessions with your students
Yes.
and are actually placing orders on the day of. That's a
Yep.
beautiful model. I don't know that we want to spend time with the consumer, but the model of getting them to place their order on the spot right now to close the door on them is
Yep.
huge.
Yes.
What percentage of parents are actually coming with their kids?
Again, my schools, we're very blessed.
Private schools. Okay.
But because of the type of schools, they're parochial, they're private.
Yep.
Those are the schools that we do this with, because they pay in tuition and they're engaged in the whole process. So it's easy. And then in a lot of our marketing material that go out, save the dates and so on, we're telling them, make sure that you have you meet all of the needs of your school: hair, makeup, earrings, facial hair, whatever it is that you can and cannot do to be ready for your portrait. And then bring in your senior ring if you got it early. Some schools, they get rings in the early fall, so those we'll have a couple of those rings there, because at some of those schools there's only one ring, one design. So we'll have a few sizes of that that we've, throughout the years, we've built that collection up. And then, of course, the new parents and the old parents talk, and they're like, oh, you're going there together and you're going to pick it all out. And a lot of our advertising and marketing will attach a video. It's like what to expect and so on. So they're very well in it. We do our best to try to keep them in the know.
Outstanding. Mike, you got anything to add to that one? Because that's a unique way to go about doing it. One-on-one.
Yeah, we do not do in-person sales any longer. That was definitely something that was part of our mantra back in the earlier part of our business. But as we continue to grow and scale, that just became impractical. But we don't feel that we've really lost a whole heck of a lot online. I mean, put it this way. I mean, I walked into Monday with almost six figures in senior sales from last year ahead of graduations from Thursday into Sunday, right? And a lot of studios don't have that ability to work over the weekend, a holiday weekend, and make six figures when we're all on vacation during the different years. And so it's just a different methodology. I don't think one is right or wrong. I think it works, or different markets are good, because it's a conversation that we've all had amongst ourselves for a long time, and everyone gets very defensive or prideful over their chosen method. And I say, hey, whatever works for you works for you. I'm happy to be at my kids' softball games on Saturdays and Sundays and not have to work and worry about trying to make sales at midnight and 2 o'clock in the morning, when that's when our customers really want to do. Our number one sales come in between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. So the fact that we're online and we're able to do that really is conducive to our business model and the way of life here in Southern California. I don't think that matches and aligns with how things are in Louisiana. So it's great that we still have two very thriving processes. With that said, we also encourage all of our seniors get 30 minutes, a minimum of 30 minutes with us, which a lot of people also think we're crazy to do. But I believe also in what Ralph said, we are selling the experience. Our images are good. There's lots of photographers that are better than we are, but we treat them the way they deserve to be treated. We have coined the phrase that we are a customer service company taking pictures for you. And so we treat people the way they deserve to be treated. We go above and beyond. If I need to personally drive something to someone's home, if they need it rushed, if they left it on their car and they drove away with $1,000 worth of prints on their car, we'll reprint them. I mean, we do the things that we've done. All the fires that took place here in SoCal, we've reprinted tens of thousands of dollars worth of pictures for people because we don't believe that they should go without. And we were fortunate enough not to have our house and our office burned down. So, there's a lot of different things that go into why our businesses are the way they are. At the end of the day, it's all built on relationships and it's all built around our families. And so we believe in bringing the families in. If we can get them there, mom and dad are there watching their kid do the cap and gown in the tuxedo. We encourage mom and dad to jump in with a photo because there's another sale. Why would you not take that picture? Why would you not encourage, even if they're not dressed right? So what? Just go hide behind them, give them a hug, give them a noogie, give them whatever you want. Photograph that interaction. At minimum, they're going to remember the smile and the energy that you built. At maximum, it's another $40, $50, $100, $200 sale because you have the wherewithal to include the people that were there. I don't want them to bring 27 members of their family to get a free family session out of their senior session, but the immediate family absolutely should be encouraged to come if appropriate. If you've got the space and you have the ability to include them, our 3 clothing change and 4 clothing change sessions list out family photos as an opportunity as a clothing change. So instead of them changing clothes, we'll call that opportunity part of their clothing change. So we know that the more people that are in the photo, the less likely the photo is to be purchased. And so we don't discourage that at all. It's just got to stay within the time frame that we have because we run a very tight ship. And I do not believe that our customers should be waiting for us. So our photographers are trained to have the sessions completely done and the customer out the door and the new one in exactly on time. And do we mess up? Sure. Are we behind at times? Absolutely. But for the most part, we all know what it's like waiting for our doctors and sitting there for hours. I refuse to run a business that double books and triple books and requires our customers to wait for us. So that's an important component in our studios. We run on time, starting with our employees doing everything that they need to make sure that that is a key concept inside of our studio. So I think people appreciate that.
Yeah, sounds good. Boy, you're giving a lot of information. If people are tuning in, if they're listening, when they see this on the rebroadcast, they can build a whole program based on this and understand, as you pointed out, there's not a right or a wrong, there's your way. And if it works for you, it's right. Nobody, we might be experts in the field overall, but we also became experts because we fine-tuned to our own audiences, our own style, our own abilities. And that can take you where you need to go. Let's move on into our did you want to jump something in there, Ralph, before I get to
I do. I like Mike's statement about throwing the family in and so on. Now, what I have done at some, especially my rural schools, and if we did it in the studio, it's not a big deal. Mom and dad are watching and so on. Now, I don't let anybody use their phones in the camera room over my shoulder. But I usually have a sitting area positioned to the side. So I always say catch the experience, just not the image. But what I will do when I will invite mom, especially, to walk around. I say, hey, go snug on little Bobby and take a picture with her phone. And I say, all I ask is do 2 things: tag me or the company, and then tag the school and say how much fun you had. So I use that for social media to build up that experience. I mean, Mike's probably has his people trained, his family, to come in prepared to snuggle up with Bobby. That's a great method, and I probably will start to build on that. But currently what I do is I usually I take a picture with mom's phone and have them tag me on social media and a school and say how wonderful the experience is.
Outstanding. Let's move on over to equipment, guys. because like I said, we're pushing out a lot of information there that's very valuable to folks. On equipment, let's talk about startup. In a traditional sense, it's tuxedos and cap and gowns and velvet drapes, black, blue, whatever velvet drapes. I know that we still run on an in-studio portrait section, tuxedos, drapes, caps, and gowns, because we have found that to turn the best dollars, most consistent dollars, time after time, no matter how much time you spend with someone in an outdoor environment. We're making more money per minute shooting more people, with our traditional style photography. Where are the sources that people can get cap and gowns from, tuxedos from, and that sort of thing that you guys are using?
I go to my best source for tuxedos has been eBay, and I found several tuxedo stores that are local to Virginia, North Carolina, are selling last year's or 2 years ago stuff for $5 and $10. So I'll pay $5 for a shirt and $10 for a jacket. And so I will buy 150 shirts and another 100 jackets, and then I'll use uship.com to ship it via a freight truck loading company across the country to me, because it needs to be palletized. The amount that we buy from these guys will get palletized. And so I can either have them do it and do markup, or if I can just make a deal with a U-shipper to pick it up. And then as long as I make the deal in May, it takes about 2 weeks to get here. Everything will arrive sometime in June. We then send it through dry cleaners, get it all cleaned, checked out, ready to go. And so what we try and do is we try to have two to three pieces of every size that we need at every single one of our studios, so that one is in play, one is in reserve, and one's in cleaning. So that way, on rotation, they're constantly being rotated through on a weekly basis to ensure that, they're obviously hygiene-wise, they're good, but we want them to look good, we want them to smell good. And we don't have the humidity that Ralph does, but I live on the surface of the sun. It will be 115 in the middle of our senior season. So even in the best air conditioning scenarios in my studios, it'll be 80, 81, 82 degrees in here. So the sweat and the smell and the BO and everything has to be monitored and maintained and cleaned quite a bit, especially with the cap and gowns. Unfortunately, cap and gowns, we end up just buying straight from Jostens because there's so many variances in colors and everything else, or Jostens or the provider if it's not Jostens, which for us, we either dealing with Herb Jones or Jostens for SoCal schools. So we go directly to them, and we have a good relationship with those business owners. And so we usually pay cost to buy. And then I go to the graduations, and they throw the caps, and no one goes and picks them up. So we collect caps, we collect diploma covers, and we do all that at graduations. People think I'm there to take pictures and make money. I'm there to get all the graduation crap that I don't want to have to buy again, and I go home with it all. And that's how we fill our studios with all the stuff that we need. And it sounds so stupid, but you wouldn't believe how many people don't pick up those things or leave that stuff behind. And in California, this may be different in other states. Schools are required to provide a cap and gown if you can't pay for it. So there's a ton of rental cap and gowns that the schools are like, well, we're renting them. We're also not going to get them clean to give them out. So the schools will have all of these open and used once cap and gowns. And so I stand there with my hands out like this. Can I have those, please? And they hand me cap and gowns. And that's how I also refresh my cap and gown inventory prior to making an order every year with our Jostens or Herb Jones reps. Because you can figure cap and gowns are going to cost you about $35 a piece brand new.
Mm-hmm. Well,
yes.
And that's a real good price. We, in the past, have used the Herb Jones studio gowns, which ran about $225, $250 a piece.
Yikes.
It was split in the back. Fabric was beautiful. It photographs beautiful. We still use them, but I haven't been able to reach out to them for new gowns for a couple of years now. So I'm not sure if they cannibalize that particular department. But absolutely beautiful gowns. And your collection, yeah, we've done that too. We also, as a matter of equipment, prior to the start of any school year, with a new school anyway, we request 3 copies of their diploma covers, and we use those diploma covers in the cap and gown pictures for the students. So you can have a portrait without the cover, but then you just slip the cover in, and they hold the cover, and you've got another opportunity to sell with something that's easy to carry and move around. Ralph, what are you doing relative to your garments?
Well, nothing super fancy like he did with his tuxedos and drapes, but we use RM Hendricks Graduate Supply. They're based out of Mississippi. Their gowns are just always has been beautiful. They're not they're photographic gowns, so they last a lot longer. The colors have always been I've used them for a billion years. The ones I do have a few schools now, they're into these custom logos on the gowns and so on. That's new to our area. They're just thinner. They don't last as long, so I got to replenish them as much. But the schools that don't have all of the extra embroidery, whatever, I use RM Hendricks. They're great. They've served us well for a billion years. If we have to replace tassels or update our charms, or if the tassel or the hat gets a little scrape in it, it's easy. The one thing I don't like about some of those type of gowns that they use at the graduation is the one size fits all. I find them to be real tight right here. They don't photograph well. So the RM Hendricks hats, they have a nice little V here. They're not so fitted. We'll clip them in the back, close pin them to get them nicely tight, but not too tight that we're getting scars.
Okay. And that's RM Hendricks, HENDRICKS.
Graduate Supply. Yeah, Mississippi, yes.
Graduate Supply.
Yeah, RM Hendrick Graduate Supply.
All right.
I'll try to get you the exact
that would be
website.
That might be the replacement for the Herff Jones gown companies. All right. What other equipment are we talking about? I know we're going to move into software. I'm not sure what you guys are doing. I know that we shoot tethered. I believe, Mike, you're shooting tethered at the point of senior photography. And Ralph, I probably presume, and might be wrong for me to do so, that you're not shooting tethered. Is that fair to say?
That is 100% with our senior portraits. Now, as I said, we call them super senior weeks.
Right.
There are a small percentage of our seniors, we call them seniors on location, which are like a 2-image yearbook only session. Those would be tethered for, yes. But it's not many that we do there.
Okay, great. And then did we get the question, before we finish this line of questions, did we get the question, Mike, do you charge for yearbook onlys in your public schools?
We have a free option at the end of the year. We call them senior quick shots, and they come in and we get 3 to 5 shots total, and then they pick one from that session. But that is something that we do at the tail end of our season, and we don't talk about it until we figure out kind of where we're at. And then Calvin, I have to run because I got to go meet with the principal real quick. But to answer your question, we shoot tethered directly in using Workflow and Captura, and then we're able to sync and do all of that work immediately. And then the students are able to see their pictures prior to them leaving the studio. They select their pictures right then and there. And then they are able to give us all of their contact information, and they do a special checkout form that we've designed that will then make sure that their names are spelled correctly. We know exactly who and what they are and what they want to be called, and welcome to California in 2025. So we collect all that information, but also if we're in a situation where schools aren't giving us information, they're giving it to us via a check-in and a checkout form with phone numbers, email. So now we can market and solicit and do everything that we need to do from that point on. And they do that within minutes of their departure from the studio. And then when they're done completely, we don't have to ask for what pictures they want. Everything is done from that point on. So it's a fairly seamless process. And we also have them hooked up to TVs. So that way, as the pictures are being taken, mom and dad are sitting on a couch watching the pictures hit on a 40-inch flat panel inside the studio. So that way there's no surprises, there's no secrets. And if they don't like something, they're able to say, hey, you know what, I didn't like that pose, or I don't like how that's looking, I don't like the hair. We don't want anything to bring us back into the studio for the wrong reasons. So we include mom and dad. Our photographers are trained to kind of elicit responses and get confirmation from the people behind them to say, hey, how's that look? How's that? Are we doing great? Or if we hear wow. Then the photographer turns around, isn't that awesome? I mean, we don't really care. We're just kind of playing a part to get them to say, yes, that's an amazing photo. All that is so we can build the excitement and the energy. Because at the end of the day, we're salesmen too, right? We need to make money. We got to sell. And so all of our people are trained from start to finish to work with mom and dad or whomever happens to be accompanying the seniors with them through that process. And for us, senior photographers have to have worked in our company for multiple years and proven that they understand the concept because it's the bread and butter. We do underclass, we do sports, we do special events, we do all this other stuff. But if you want to be a senior photographer, you got to check off all the boxes because it's a one opportunity to get it right kind of scenario with us. And we want it to be grade A, top experience. And so, yeah, that's kind of just our thought process. And thank you for letting me share a little bit of what we do. I'm now going to go cry with the principal who's not doing what he needs to do properly.
Well, Mike, we all experienced that. Thank you for very much for joining us today. You've given some good information, and then we'll expound on some of it, I'm sure, between Ralph and I for the next few minutes. And we'll see you next go round, sir. Thank you.
You got it. Enjoy. Thank you, guys.
Hi, Mike.
All right, Ralph, let's talk to you about software. You mentioned earlier you were using ProSelect on your viewing. And what are you using on your post-production work or your cataloging of your images? Are you using, is it the same product?
Well, just real quick, let me backtrack. I did send you, if you want to post to this broadcast, it is gradsupply.com. It's RM Hedrick's Graduate Supply house. That's where we're getting all our stuff. And they their number is 800-844-5323. I just looked it up on my computer. So I just wanted to share that with you. 800-844-5323. And if you could, just tell them that Ralph sent you. That would be great. Okay, so let's go back to the viewing software that we use. It's ProSelect. Ron Nichols. We've been friends with Ron forever, and we really enjoy using that for our in-studio sales. So what'll happen, let's go through the whole process. One of my greeters, who is class of 26, will take our senior to the back, talk to them, hi, how you doing, get to know them, and so on. Find out a little bit more about them. Mom's usually walking behind and smiling, or tears are coming. It's all great, whatever, because it's a baby. And I just laugh and smile and so on. And so they'll go get them dressed. If it's a guy, into their tuxedo, lady into the drape, and we got changing rooms and the whole bit. And then so they'll walk them into our smaller camera room, which does all of our head and shoulders. Our photographer will greet them and say hello and get to ask them some questions and start to photograph them. So we'll do some basic images like right here of them in a tuxedo for our guys. And then if they have their class ring or we have a class ring, they'll do a nice little ring shot for the guys and the girls. Okay. And then they'll go take that senior, take them back to the dressing area, get them into a cap and gown. If they have honors, stoles, or whatever, we'll photograph them in there. And then we'll do some cap and gown images. Some of our schools, their yearbook images are cap and gowns, like my son's. So there's no honors on there. So we'll photograph them with their honors. And then we'll also photograph them to meet yearbook requirements of just the cap and gown. So everybody's the same. So there's just more images for more potential sales. Thank you. And again, tell them Ralph sent you. And then so what'll happen is the photographer will hand the paperwork and a card, and we have somebody to the side who will take and copy all of the images, put them on our server, create the ProSelect album, or what is called the PSA. What is wonderful inside of ProSelect, there are some retouching tools, some automation in there. So we'll select our favorite retouching method inside of ProSelect. So now when the parents see their images for the first time, the skin's a little bit softer, it looks a lot nicer, the blemishes are reduced, and so on. So it's a nicer presentation. Our sales team will go through, pick out their yearbook, talk to them what is needed for the family, for the home, how you want to display it. Also encourage them to come back and do some casuals because they'll engage in conversation. What are you involved in? Football, baseball, ROTC, swimming. I crochet, I like records, whatever it is. We want to capture those wonderful memories, and so on. So they'll drop all of the images into 8x10s or 5x7s, and then the layouts and a whole bit if they want to buy a multi-image product. And then what's really nice in Pro Select for us, when we finish up the order, put it all together, it'll run the retouch in action if that one's fine. I have a team that is just handling our portraits. They'll make sure all the retouch is good. We do print in-house all of our super senior week in portraits products and stuff here locally. All of our volume stuff, our school portraits, our sports, our class groups, that is done all with a lab that does ship straight to home. These are nicely boxed, nicely wrapped, a lot of extra marketing, family portraits, so on into there. It's a nicer experience. Our price point, of course, between our volume and our portraits is different because we hand to everything. We have a lot more hands that are touching it and boxing it in the presentation and giving that a wonderful experience. So that's how
the market is willing to accept much higher prices on one product than the other. They have been conditioned. I think one of the things that we have to recognize as an industry is that we've conditioned our customers to think certain ways and to have buying patterns and behavior in certain ways. And so often undergrad photography is knocked down because we have not elevated it and made them think of it as a greater value, or what is the true value, as opposed to just an ID card. No. It's not just
a little bit more.
Card. It's a little bit more. And when you lose your child and you call looking for a picture, and we have that portrait, the last portrait of them, how valuable is that portrait at that time?
If we want to go into that particular topic, I do train all of my photographers to always remember that this could be the child's last memory. On my desk sits a thank you note that I keep next to me, of a child that we photographed, that the student was lost. And then, of course, personally, I have been part of that club 22 years ago. So I know the value of capturing that image and making sure it's perfect every day. And I do train my photographers that photograph it with the enthusiasm and passion if it was your first time photographing, but also remember that this could be that person's last, or treat it as its last image that you'll ever create. And the value of that, even if it's as we said, it's knocked down as a school picture, give it that same level of care as we do all the way up to our senior portraits.
Oh, absolutely.
It's very, very important.
Incredibly important. Very valuable. Ralph, thank you for joining us. I think we're going to wind this one up today because we've just committed to the hour. We've got another session coming up. You may be on that one also, and as well as others. But on the second episode is 2 weeks from now, on June 17th. We'll be covering posing sessions, packages, and sales and marketing. And we talked a little bit. It's hard to have a straight line, streamlined subject matter of the nature that we have, the industry we have, and not have discussion trickle into other areas. We've talked about some sales and marketing. We've talked about the session scheduling, but not the specific packages and whatnot. How do you package the offering that you're making that entices them to come to the table? Because that's the first part, is your marketing, and then what's the enticement for them to come? You can't just simply say, I make beautiful pictures, come see me. That doesn't sell real well.
No. What if we're going to talk about that really quickly? What we do is out. Everybody has a certain number in their head of what they want for each senior.
Sure.
It might be $1, it might be $1 million. It's your number, your region, what works well for you. I know what mine is. So what we do is we design some savings, and we try to navigate that client to hit that average every time. Um, and so it's not we that's what we do, and we talk to them, and we're not trying to be used car salesman, pushy, but what we want to do is ask them the questions. What do you want to display in your home? Who do you have to buy for? Grandma, grandpas, aunts, uncles. Who are your favorite people, special people you need to buy for? And then let's talk about the wallets. In our area, our senior wallets are still very important because they do like to
Wow.
hand those out. And again, this is our area, and they definitely put them in their announcements. But I do offer digital packages because I know today's generation, it's all about posting to social. We want to accommodate that, but we do try to educate our parents, because I will just ask our parents really quickly. If I'm engaging in a conversation, they say, "Oh, all I want is digitals." Okay, fine, that's fine. When's the last time you looked at your MySpace account? MySpace. Oh, you ever pulled out that hard drive that you had back 10 years ago? Oh, that doesn't work. Well, all my stuff is in the cloud. So where are we going to be 10 years? Yeah, today's the cloud, but where's we going to be in 10 years? Where's Facebook going to be at? Where's MySpace? Where's Instagram? All of these other social media platforms, where are they going to be in 10 years? At least print the very, very important images so that you have a record of them, because they will outlast all of the social media platforms that we have, all of our storage. There's some platform, like I still have CDs from our first digital image. I don't have many CD drives that can read them today. Where's all of that? Where's all of that history? It's not easy to get to. So where are we going to be tomorrow? So print what's important to you. Yes, I know, because I post to, and I got all my digital files where I need them to be, but my important ones
You print it. I got
right there. That's a metal print.
you. Hmm.
Snola. That's why I didn't make SPAC, and it snowed that day. So I captured that of my son.
Sure.
So, but yeah, we print them. There's
I,
still world. There's still parts. There's still an area to print, and
absolutely.
we got to balance out
Absolutely.
between digital products as well as prints.
It's what the
That's for
customer
our area.
desires. Whatever the customer desires, we'll sell it.
Absolutely,
Just so we
you
get the
got it.
number we want out of them. I'm going to bring Corey back on. Corey, put your smile back on.
And
Oh,
Calvin,
my
I want to say
goodness.
thank you and Corey to allow me to be a part of today's group. This was
Absolutely.
exciting. I'm sorry I
Absolutely.
missed y'all in Vegas, but again, it
All right.
snowed in New Orleans, which is crazy. Not since 1896 it snowed that hard.
Yeah, we
So
watched and we're quite shocked. In fact, those of us familiar with the area, it's like, oh my goodness,
I missed
this
all my
is
SPAC friends that year. Boy, I had definitely FOMO. I had the fear of missing
yeah.
out so much.
And they were bringing snow blowers from what part of the country that had to come down there. It was crazy.
Crazy. It's
Anyway,
crazy.
Corey, come
All
on
in New
back up.
Orleans.
Is there some special announcements you have? Because I know we've got things going. I know we announced the winner for the scholarship, and I'll try to translate for you if your voice is gone crazy, Corey. I don't know if I can
Okay,
translate that.
I'm back.
There we go.
Okay, there we are. Yes, we have announced we have 6 scholarship recipients across the nation: Oregon, California, Alabama, Minnesota, New York, and Ohio. 6 seniors have been awarded the scholarship and a camera, and we are
Well, folks, I think that we're going to pass on Corey right now because she is having serious trouble with her internet. So thank you for joining us this past week. We did push out the information. You can look on the page, on the Facebook page regarding the awardees for the scholarship. And we had a good response rate, and we were able to give away 6 $1,500 cash scholarships accompanied with 6 Sony cameras. We got to mention these companies when they donate stuff like this. We've got to mention it, and I know that there are others that want to join with that. We'll be looking for them next year. That'd be the Lumix and the Canon and the Nikon. All of them can jump into the mix, and we're happy to push it out there so that their cameras can be mainstreamed and used by more. Once you get loyal to a camera brand, oftentimes it's hard to break away, and our camera manufacturers are aware of that. So we're helping them make some of those high school commits loyal to the single brand. So until next week, I'm not sure what the subject topic matter will be. I believe it might be old people. Old people, gosh, that's a bad word in my world. It might be the OGs of photography. And then we'll have our 17th, and that'll be more on seniors. And then the following week will be a Tech Tuesday with Matt the Body sharing some other insights, possibly giving you some information that'll be very valuable for you for the coming year. Because as we know, ChatGPT is making, and other GPTs are making some of our processes much easier to manage and facilitate. So until next week, folks, have a wonderful one. Stay cool.
Thank you.
Take care,
Appreciate
Ralph.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.